McCain and Joy Behar sparred recently on the topic of Mike Bloomberg. But while it's unsurprising that they disagreed with one another, what was surprising was to see that the person who typically has the wrong opinion had the right opinion. Take a look.
I think you can throw a stone and find someone with less oppo because he's been in public office so long. I am so glad he's finally going to have to man up and be on the debate stage because I want to see how he performs against the other candidates. And so far, he's sort of been getting by on just doing ads, releasing statements and doing rallies, which is like, I think it's kind of a cheap way to run for president because he's opted out of all the primaries, however you feel about the process. I think the idea that Mike Bloomberg is just going to sail into this and land really easily, and he's just going to be the nominee, and all of these activists on the far left. Well, I think he and his supporters, and his supporters in the media, are acting like he's just being anointed. He's an easy billionaire, and he's going to walk right in, and it's going to be easy. And some of the stuff I saw over the weekend, and some of the comments he's made, and I don't want to get in your way, Sonny, but I believe you have a clip that I was shown that is particularly, at least problematic, I think, for most Americans. I think this is going to be a lot harder than he thinks it is.
So she's 100% right about that. So she touched on, I know you dislike her, but you have to put your feelings for her aside and judge her comments.
That's not in my contract, I don't have to.
Okay, well, I'm going to be fair, because when someone's right,
I know,
you should call them out as right.
Yes,
but
yes,
look, she touches on the money issue, but more importantly, she touches on all of these vulnerabilities that Michael Bloomberg has as a candidate: the racism, the sexism, the sexual harassment allegations, everything. It's all there. And she makes a good point. And remember, Meghan McCain is not a fan of Donald Trump, so it's not like she's been an apologist for Trump's behavior while condemning the same behavior on the Democratic side. She says later in this segment that she is not going to vote for Trump. But I think that she's right in calling out Bloomberg's vulnerabilities. Go ahead.
Yeah, I want to give her exactly as much credit she deserves and not a bit more, because she's just absolutely the worst.
Well, okay.
And she's a poster child for unearned success and mediocrity and all of that, all the stuff that we've made clear in other cases. Yes, she's right here. What made it most jarring was that Joy Behar, who, look, I'm not like a Joy Behar fan or anything like that, but she can occasionally be reasonable, and some of her values are in the right place.
She used to be right about a lot of things.
Yeah, no, I agree. But she, from what I saw, and understand, I don't watch The View. The articles and little clips like this, my only taste of it, seems to have just totally bought exactly what Bloomberg's team wants you to believe about who he is, why he's the only one that could win. And it's like normally Meghan McCain is the person who sits down without exercising a single second of critical thought before speaking. But I guess you're only allowed to have one person at the table that does that on any given day.
It seems like it. In fact, to your point, let's go to the next clip where things get super spicy.
There's a lawsuit the Washington Post dug up where he was sued for saying there was a woman who was having trouble finding a nanny for her child, and he said, it's a blanking baby. It doesn't know the difference between you and anyone else. All you need is some black who doesn't even have to speak English to rescue it from a burning building.
All I have to say,
but I'm just saying, you want to go up against Trump and you want to take the moral high ground, Democrats. I don't know if this guy is going to be the one.
All I have to say, there are very fine people on both sides. That was in Charlottesville. He said that removing Confederate monuments was trying to take away our culture.
You want to take the moral high ground.
Belittled the Black Lives Movement. He questioned whether Barack Obama.
I'm not defending Trump because I'm attacking Bloomberg.
What are you saying then?
I'm saying that you're shiny, sparkly. I'm saying you're shiny, sparkly guy who's surging right now. Which, by the way, everybody surges in primary politics.
I
remember when Gingrich did and Herman Cain did. Every candidate surges at one point or another.
He still thinks the Central Park 5
because he's a sparkly little. Because you know what? I just think it's so interesting that you have a problem that we are talking about a candidate the way we would any other candidate. He just happens to be at the top getting the attention right now, which is why we're talking about it right now. What, I'm supposed to give Bloomberg a pass? Not on this show, not with this host.
I'd like to know who you're going to vote for. Who are you voting for?
Who I vote for is none of your business, but I am not voting for Trump, and I'm sure as hell not voting for Bloomberg.
By the way, okay.
100%, you're a political host on an advocacy opinion show. Yeah, it's kind of your opinion, your business. Okay, everyone's business.
Sure, okay, but that segment was insane. Like, what happened?
Yes, it was insane.
And look, honestly, I can't believe I'm saying this, and I want to be clear that this is a very unique time when talking about The View. Joy Behar interrupting Meghan McCain was not okay. Like did not care to listen to what she had to say at all,
annoying.
and was super annoying talking over her. And I watched the full segment. We can't show you the full segment because it's so long. And I get the knee-jerk instinct to like immediately ignore what she says or minimize what she says. McCain, yeah, because we've seen some of her points in the past. But what she's saying there actually makes a lot of sense. How are you as the Democratic Party gonna condemn the behavior of Donald Trump when Mike Bloomberg has done very similar things? You have no moral, ground there. You have no leg to stand on. And why would Americans vote for Michael Bloomberg as Trump light when you already have Trump?
Yeah, the fact that she interrupted was annoying in its own way, but that's the show, I guess. It's the substance of what she thought she was trying to say. When, I'm not trying to be disrespectful, but she didn't think at all about what she was actually saying. When Meghan McCain points out all of the terrible things that Bloomberg brings to this race, and you just respond by listing off Trump controversies, yeah, Trump is terrible, we get that. We want better. You presumably want better, Joy Behar. She's been saying that for years, right?
Right.
So all of a sudden now, because you think maybe he can beat him, all of the things that you hate about Trump, you're okay with. Or the vast majority, 90%, or whatever number you want to ascribe to that. Then suddenly you don't care about those things anymore. What a ridiculous dodge to start listing those. And also, it was so crazy. The point that sort of frustrated me was at the end where she's like, you expect me to give him a pass, which is perfectly fine. But she went on and said, not on this show, not with this host.
I know.
What a low bar that's been set for you only by the fact that no one else in that table would do the reasonable thing, which is criticize Bloomberg. She gets to ascend into the heavens as this arbiter of reasonableness.
No, but look, they created.
Everyone should be doing what she is doing.
You're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. They created the environment for her to shine, and she's right in what she said.
Don't do that.
And look, I don't care who's making the point. The point needs to be made, and if it's being made by someone on the right on a show like The View, it's important. And I want to give her credit for that, and I want to be fair, okay? And look, I have been pretty vicious toward Meghan McCain in the past, so it's not like I'm soft on her. But in this case, she is right, and the way that they dismissed her, I thought was troubling.
Well, and by the way, you're so right to point out that if someone on the right is going to make the case, and people who are not on the right, please pay attention to this, because right now Meghan McCain is. If he becomes the nominee, they're all going to do that. They're all going to point out the same things Meghan McCain is. She's supposedly not doing it to help out Trump, although she seems to be indicating pretty heavily that she's going to sit out the election because she's perfectly fine with Trump still being president. Let's bear that in mind. Don't give her too much credit. But Trump can't wait to run against Mike Bloomberg.
Right.
Because he gets to, Bloomberg gives the illusion that all the terrible things that Trump has said and done, suddenly, I guess everybody does them. Trump is not some sort of unique, horrible threat. It's just, that's politicians now. They've all sexually harassed a bunch of women. They all say that wages should never go up. They're all racist. They're all homophobic and transphobic. Let's not allow him to pretend that that's the case. It shouldn't be the case. It isn't the case. We have candidates like Bernie Sanders, who, as far as I know, has never been accused of sexual harassing literally anyone.
Right, he's been accused of sexism, but we all know how that goes, right?
Yes.
Like they've failed to provide any evidence of that. They just throw, and it's amazing because the same people who are defending Michael Bloomberg and the 60+ allegations against him from women are the same ones who will make horrible accusations of sexism in regard to Bernie Sanders, but refuse to provide any evidence of that.
They don't care.
It's just because they don't care. I think this whole Michael Bloomberg situation has been illuminating and has really shown, I think, voters who are paying attention, the Democratic establishment doesn't actually care about the issues that they purport to care about, right? When they talk about sexism or racism or homophobia or transphobia, they do so with political gain in mind. They don't do it because they actually care about offering reforms or protections for disenfranchised groups. They just don't.
Yeah,
and it's so depressing.
I saw that Bernie's press secretary, Brown, has been on the show. She was quoted as saying Bloomberg is facing more than 60 accusations of sexual assault. And a journalist was like, that's not true. That was the quote. because she meant harassment, she said assault. And Jennifer Rubin responded, the Washington Post opinion writer, responded, shockingly untrue. But like he is facing 60 accusations of sexual harassment. Like, do you not care about that?
Jennifer Rubin just today put out a tweet saying that members of Bernie Sanders' campaign staff, like on the high levels, are engaging in abusive behavior on social media. And I asked her, can you provide one example, just one? Because I want to see what they qualify as abusive behavior. She fails to provide a single example of that. That's all they have, which tells me, look, his message is so powerful and his record is so consistent that they've got nothing against Sanders. The only thing they can do is cry about their feelings getting hurt. Look, class war isn't called class war because it's like class Chuck E. Cheese, right? It's not fun and it's not nice, but people have been dealing with this rigged economic system for so long, and when you're having difficulty putting a roof over your children's heads or put food on the table for your kids, you don't really care too much about being nice on Twitter, okay? So I don't know what else to tell you about that.
Yeah, it's also frustrating. They're also fake. Everybody is so fake. Nobody thinks before they say anything because the incentive is not to do so. Their fan bases don't care fundamentally.
They don't.
Jennifer Rubin, like 60 counts of sexual harassment. I know that it bothers you about Trump, right? I'm sure you've written op-eds about that. If it's anyone other than Trump, does it bother you? Presumably not. I didn't see anything in that tweet about it.
Well, it bothers me and it bothers us regardless of who's doing it, whether it's a Democrat or Republican. This is what hyper-partisan politics is, and it's disgusting. This type of behavior should be condemned, even if it's a Democrat doing it. And he was a Democrat, what, 2 days ago? Republican before that. Don't miss your chance to win a trip to Los Angeles and have dinner with Cenk, John, and me. Just head to tyt.com/dinnerinla to register to win. Sign up for a free Aspirations spend and save account. Then you just register your eligibility and swipe your Aspiration card daily on purchases to gain entries. Not only are you entering to win a trip to Los Angeles and dinner with TYT hosts, you're also not depositing your hard-earned money into fossil fuel exploration or production. As a friendly reminder, even if you already have an Aspiration account, you must still register for eligibility into the sweepstakes.